How do you take a bunch of static frames and turn them into a cool battle animation? Today, we're talking about the animation system for Legacy of Pandora. We're ramping up for a demo in April 2025, give or take. So this is November 2024. One of the goals for the Legacy of Pandora team was to nail down the animation system. There's been some progress in the art department in terms of animation themselves, which we're gonna be discussing very soon. But yeah, in the development side, we needed something to reflect those cool animations and start to get them into the game. As a reminder, we're building a monster taming roguelike using Greek mythology, where you play as Pyrrha, Pandora's daughter, yes, that Pandora, the one with the jar, and go about Greece trying to bring back every evil that escaped the jar. So the evils, or these cacodemons as we call them, are your monsters, are the ones that you're going to be collecting and using to battle, and the main source of animations for our game. So we got characters like Pyrrha herself, the protagonist, got the monsters, and you got the moves. In a classic battle scene, which is like this one over here, you'll see yourself to the left with your monster, the rival, or let's call it like civilian NPC, to the right with their own monster. And there's three main pieces of animation that's going to be happening during this scene. Each monster is going to have an idle animation, basically to give them some life, breathing, and giving some movement to heads, tails, fangs, and arms, depends on the monster that we're going to be portraying. An actual attack animation, which is sort of like resembles what you see on some animes about an instant transition, let's say, where the attacker disappears and then the enemy or the receiver of the attack sort of like gets hit by something. So we got the idle animation, the transition into the attack, and then the move itself, the attack itself, is going to be represented with a visual animation. For example, on the screen right now, you're going to see a horn moving from right to left, which depending on the monster and the type of monster, is going to be completely different. Another thing that's going to be happening, which is not implemented yet, but the system is ready, is that yourself as Pyrrha or the NPCs, they're going to have their own idle animations. And for the protagonist, for Pyrrha, we're going to be exploring a bit more stuff around how she moves. For example, when you order an attack or give a command to one of the monsters, Pyrrha might make a move and change her pose into more like an indication of an action, like pointing out, like, do this. The same thing goes when you're capturing monsters out in the wild, or you're like listing them out, like changing who is gonna be in the battle. Pyrrha is gonna do a movement to the side with the jar that is usually on her back. She's gonna bring it forward and kind of use it like a Ghostbusters machine, and there's gonna be a smoke transition of going in or out of the jar with the monster showing up. That's the intent of the whole sort of like animation for a battle scene. What you're seeing on the screen right now is basically a first pass on the system, and for us it's great to have this because it's just like a simple, smooth way to just drop moves into any scene that we want. Same with the idle animations and the attacking animations for the monsters, since it's gonna be quite similar. At its core, Unity does a lot of the frame-by-frame heavy lifting, but we added a few key features to make the animations pop a bit. First, we just set up a custom widget to let us save each animation directly to specific moves. This will let us quickly test, adjust, and even mirror the animations for different sides for attacking and defenses as they happen. We just have to define what we want for each frame of the animation, like the position, as well as just the desired of the location in Unity. It's quite simple to define the positions for each frame and just let Unity do the transitions. The nice thing that we have going, and this is all the Devlog work, is that we built an automatic transition system to bring the animations back to a default state, like the idle position, for example. So when you see the monsters move, each animation flows into the next, thanks to this like middleman transition. For example, when it goes from idle to the after image when it's attacking, and then back to the idle. Another thing that we've been applying is the trajectory and projectile for the attack moves. Basically, we create both trajectory and projectile as separate things, in case we want to reuse a trajectory for a different move, for example, for a different creature. And it's great because the projectile file is just a visual transformation, as we said. So if we want a fireball, we just change the file itself, and each frame in the projectile file can switch images at set intervals, making complex animations incredibly efficient and reusable for us. So in other words, the projectile file contains more than just a single image. It's a timed transformation. So that's a peek into the animation system for the battle scene particularly. Obviously, we're going to be having other sort of animations throughout the game. For example, we discussed last time that in Legacy of Pandora, your decisions lead to earning evil points, and these evil points are the only way for you to evolve your monsters into stronger beings. So they don't have levels, they don't just level up as you play. You need to corrupt them with the evil points to turn the monsters into something else. And that's where the decision making comes to play for Legacy of Pandora, which is really important to us, giving you the freedom, but also the responsibility of how you're going to be making decisions. Because each decision is going to lead to different points, and then even the decision of corrupting something, it's going to shape your team in a particular way. For example, the puppy, if you corrupt it with madness points, it would lead into a Lilap's evolution. And obviously that evolution screen is going to involve some cool animation, at least we want to think it that way. So that's not been worked on yet, but soon to come. We just need to decide what that is going to look like.